Hello and welcome to another exciting jam-packed. Okay, it's packed. Okay, it's an episode of Coffee with the Commodore. I am Commodore Skip, and once again, I must tell you I'm not affiliated with any military organization. I don't hold any rank, so please do not ask me for any military secrets. I couldn't tell you if I knew, because that's what secrets mean. Thanks, everybody. No, just kidding. I hope everybody is doing well. Today's coffee, let's just get right to it. In my Outer Banks cup is breakfast blend of some sort. I didn't look at the title, but it's absolutely delicious. And I love the Outer Banks, by the way. It's one of my favorite places to visit. When I go to the beach, it's quiet-ish, very family oriented, and they've got putt putts. So as long as they got putt putts that I can putt around in and stink at, then I'm good. So it's been a little while since I have recorded one of these jam-packed episodes, as mentioned before. Things have been going on. I mean, we had a lot of snow. Had to work. I had to catch up. I had to do some stuff around here. I have a bunch of recordings going on too, and some coming up. So it's been crazy, which it's good kind of crazy though. So I'm very, very, very happy, and I'll kind of talk about um, what I've got coming up towards the end of the show here. But today I want to talk about campaign worlds because I have been asked, kind of volunteered to run a D&D game, fifth edition, in my own homebrew world. So I sat down and I thought about it when I first was approached, and I'm like, okay, well, let me do um, something that's already created, like Curse of Strahd, because I've always wanted to run Curse of Strahd. But the more I thought about it, the more like I just don't want to. And you can, with these campaigns that's been created already. I mean, you could put your own flair in it, you know. So I thought of just doing that and just maybe putting my own little touches on it. But then I got to thinking, I'm like, I've got a lot of creative juices flowing now, thanks to good old fashioned medicine, and I want to put that to use. So I changed my mind, and I began creating my home world, my homebrew world. Um, I had started this a couple of years ago. I had written a lot of stuff for it. I created the gods, created the lands, and things like that, and then they kind of got lost. I don't know if I deleted the files or anything like that. Um, so I was really upset, and I kind of put that to the side. I'm like, okay, and I wasn't really in a good mental shape at the time to focus on running a campaign. So, um, but recently I started going back into and trying to find the stuff. I found a little bit of it. I found like a original draft that I had saved on, another thumb drive. I didn't even realize that I did. Thank goodness. That had like the gods' names and a little bit of background information. So I had something to begin with. And I may have mentioned this world in previous talks like this. So please forgive me if I'm repeating myself a little bit. But my world is called Everfall. And I have now the gods for it. And I went back through and was reading the history that I wrote, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crap. So I threw all that away. I did keep the gods' names though, because I thought they were really cool and a little bit of what they do. But I've now sit down and got my creative juices flowing, and I have um, the beginnings of my campaign world. Now, I'm a big fan of Matt Colville. I have actually gone back and watched his how to run the game videos. Still working my way through them again, but they've been very informative about how to begin with a campaign world. You start out simple. I don't do anything simple, but it's been a struggle. But I've tried to. I mean, I've created a couple of maps of the world itself, and I'm still not happy with it. I've kind of shown the players a little bit of that in our Discord chats, but I may go back and change it. I mean, we haven't officially started the campaign yet, not until next week when this thing airs. So I got time to tweak it again, and I'm probably going to do that. My original thought was to have like this epic battle centuries ago, because that's what you do. And it kind of split the continent into like four places, and you have like your kingdoms, and then you have like the desert area, and then you have like the northern frozen part, and then you have like the southern with all the jungles and everything like that. Typical fantasy world. And in the middle of all these islands, now huge islands, is this big, you have to have like a whirlpool, like a maw of some sort in there, because it's a fantasy world, and that's what happens when you cast a demon into the void. There's some ramifications. And I got to looking at the map of it, and I'm like, nah, I don't like this because they're not connected. I like, having the ability to for the players to go wherever they want to, you know. And it would involve ship travel and everything like that. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. At least not in the very beginning. So I'm probably gonna go back and tweak it. I'm still gonna keep the giant whirlpool somewhere, because you gotta have one of those things. Um, because the players eventually are gonna go try to figure out what the heck that thing is. And they've already kind of mentioned it in the Discord chat. Just looking at the old map, and my camera is shaking. So again, I'm sorry. Um, I'm excited, but I am going to go back and tweak that. So what I'm planning on doing, I'm not going to give too many spoilers here, because some of my players may be watching, and if you are, you could stop right now, because I am going to give a little bit, but uh, I'll wait. Go ahead and stop. Thank you. Um, so I'm starting them out. It's the whole get together, that they're going to be meeting in a tavern. Now, I've done little individual setups with each of them through Discord. Just kind of saying, hey, here's what's going on with your character or characters, and why you have, to the point where you are meeting for the first time in this tavern in a town called Geldon. And it's called the Laughing Duck, by the way. Well, I just love that name, the Laughing Duck Inn and Tavern. Um, but I'm going to start incorporating some of the old classic D&D modules from back in my time, back in the late 70s, early 80s, because I've got a young group, and I doubt they've ever been through it before. And I'm going to, I'll mix things up anyway, but I decided in this first go round, in my first part of this new world, this new campaign, that that's what I'm going to do. Now, I've got other plots that are going to be happening. Now, my players have written some great stuff. So it's given me some good stuff in the background, and they didn't even realize it, but some of them just in writing have tied each other together, and they didn't even know who's playing what. So it was really interesting to start reading that. And by the way, not meaning to get off on another tangent, but I love character backgrounds. I mean, anything from like a paragraph up to a novel, I don't care, as long as I have something to build on. I do that myself. I try to write a decent amount of background, um, basically giving the game master fodder to mess with me, um, which is what backgrounds are for. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling today. I do apologize. But anyway, I'm trying to get everything established on this first campaign. Now, my goal is to build this world from now on. If I'm going to run fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons, or really I can plug any system into this, but any of those, I'm going to just kind of plug into this world. And it makes me very, very happy to think that I've actually started to build something. And I'm a big proponent of the players helping build worlds, you know, especially since this is fledgling. I told them in my original, uh, whatever you call it, pitch for this, after I decided not to run Curse of Strahd, is hey, this is a new world. I've got some ideas. I know what's kind of happening in the background, but I want you to come up with one, your character's background, and two, depending on what ancestry species, whatever you want to call it, that you're playing. I want, if it's not human, I want you to give me some ideas of what you see as that particular species, uh, like, what are, not really necessarily the entire history, but just kind of how the feel of that particular being is. And we will incorporate that t- into the backstory of the world. Um, and they seem to love that. I've got a multitude. I've got one human, I've got half elf, I believe, and two tieflings. So it's really interesting to see um, how that's going to play out. So I'm really excited. I've never actually played a tiefling, and I'm really considering it the next time I actually play in a D&D world is to play a tiefling. So I told him, I said, you could be, you could be the red, blue, whatever color you want to be of the tiefling. And what we'll do is we will base that ancestry on what you choose. So let's say, for example, they both of my tieflings have chosen to be kind of the bluish skin, which is great. I love the pictures that they've sent me of those. So we are basing that type of tiefling. I've got a story based on why they broke away from the beast, which is the demon lord in my world. Back in the big war where they used to subserve, they were servants of the beast, and this particular brand of tieflings broke away from it. Um, so I gave it a little bit of rich backstory. There's some other things that are going to go on that they don't know about as part of that. There are other tieflings, different varieties. They also broke away in certain situations, and some didn't. So, but I'm very glad that they did that because I hadn't even sat down when I first did this. I'm like, I've never had a tiefling in my group, believe it or not, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This gives me a chance to branch out and everything like that. So, anyway, um, so we're getting ready to get started in that, and I'm very, very excited about it. So what I'll probably start doing, once we get one of the episodes, I guess, um, underway, I'm going to come back and I'm going to record a brief synopsis of, hey, here's what's going on, here's what's happened, kind of like a campaign diary, I guess. I'm going to add that to my channel, along with just these little coffee talks as well. So kind of just building stuff up. Plus, it gives my players a chance to go back and look at it, and it keeps people updated because I have people interested in what I do, and I really do appreciate that. When I started this whole thing, I'm like, who's going to watch this? And then I've got like a loyal following now, and I really love you guys. Thank you very much for the likes and for adding me and stuff like that. So hopefully, as I go along, I'll build more. And again, we still have plans to bring people on to chat with me like this, and it's just been pushed off a little bit, and for that I apologize with the way things are going in my life. So, but that's really it. I know I mentioned I've got a lot of projects coming up. Of course, we've got stuff going on with Black Creek and New Dawn. I play Special Agent in Charge, Garth Black. So a lot of shenanigans over there, and I'll put the link down in the boopity boop below. Um, Also, I've got a project coming up with the Old Ways, with the second part of God's Teeth. So if you're not a Patreon supporter for the Old Ways, you might want to check that out. God's Teeth is Delta Green, and it is intense. And we are just getting started. We've recorded the first chapter basically. People seem to have loved it and asked us to come back for chapter 2, so that's going to get ready to start. I've got a couple other things coming out on Old Ways as well. So going over to the Old Ways podcast, Mike Diamond does a great job with his weekly updates, his weekly warm-ups. I love that thing, and kind of tell you about what's coming up. So I don't want to spoil that, but I know, just to let you know, I've got a couple of projects coming out over there. Also, I've got a project coming out on Symphony. We've announced that I'm going to be running a Hunter game. We're going to start recording after Chaosium Con in the first part of May. So that'll air on Symphony Entertainment a little bit later on as part of their whole world of darkness that Bridget is building over there. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the current campaign that Bridget is running for Vampire, but it's kind of an offshoot. So you may see like a nod or a throwback to something that's happened over there, but it's a completely different part, completely different story. And I think it's going to be very entertaining, and I'm very excited to be running that. So I'll put the link for Symphony and the old ways down in the bloopity bloop as well before I post this. Anyway, I'll try to be more consistent with coming on and talking about stuff, but I kind of wanted to give you a lead into my campaign and what's going to go on there. And if you have any questions, if you want me to talk about a specific subject that I've faced in my long-term gaming history, I'll be glad to address that. But anyway, this has been Coffee with the Commodore. I am Commodore Skip. Remember to smile. You never know whose day you might brighten. And we'll catch you back here next time. Adios.